Attention duelists. Phoenix here. Time for more Master Duel Monday in just a second. Alright. That's better. Finally figured out how to hide the cursor. What's up? Master Duel Monday. Watch and learn time. Let's start watching. See if we learn. Doubt it. Let's see what match 1 has in store for us. Numeron with 2 Lightning Storms and a Raigeki in his opener. Opponent summons Swap Frog, which will send Ronin Totem. Then they activate Reasoning, declaring level 3. They will mill 1 and then summon another Ronin Totem, activate Fury of the Kairu Shen, which will add Torrential Tribute to hand. Swap Frog will use its effect to bounce itself back to the hand to summon a new Swap Frog. That Swap Frog will send away a Dupe Frog. Then the Ronin Totem and the Swap Frog on field will overlay to make Totally Awesome. He will set 2 back row and pass. Numeron player draws Ash Blossom. Totally Awesome will use its effect. Attempt to use its effect, opponent will immediately Ash Blossom to negate. Going to mid phase 1, player uses Lightning Storm. Opponent activates Trap Trick. And then we'll chain Paleozoic Dinomischus. Dinomischus will summon itself as a trap monster. Trap Trick will send away Breakthrough, and then set Breakthrough skill. Then Lightning Storm will wipe the back row. Player then uses Numeron Wall's effect to set Numeron Network, then activate Raigeki. Totally Awesome will use its effect to negate the Raigeki, and then set it to their field. Totally Awesome will then bounce itself from the graveyard to the extra deck. Numeron Network will send Numeron Calling to summon the 4 Numeron Gates. Gate 1 swings and destroys the Paleozoic Dinomischus. Gate 2 swings for 2,000. Gate 3 for 2,000. And Gate 4 for 2,000. During main phase 2, Gate 1 will turn into Chaos Gate. Excuse me, Sonya. Then all the gates will be sent away during the end phase. Switches turns. Ronin Totem will banish a Swap Frog to summon itself, and then player summons a Dupe Frog to make Sky Cavalier Centaura. Player moves to battle, swings direct with Centaura. Main phase 2, Centaura is going to turn into Zeus. Sorry, Downward Magician and then Zeus. I'm getting ahead of myself. Zeus in defense mode. We'll use its effect to send away all cards on the field. Ronin Totem in the graveyard will again banish a Swap Frog to summon itself. As will another one, this time banishing Dupe Frog to summon itself. Both Ronin Totems will overlay to remake Totally Awesome. Passes turn to the Numeron player. They draw Numeron Network. Totally Awesome will detach a unit to summon a Dupe Frog from the deck. Player uses Lightning Storm to attempt to destroy Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome will use its effect, attributing itself to negate. Lightning Storm will be set to their side of the field. And Totally Awesome will return Ronin Totem to the hand, actually. Player activates Numeron Network and Numeron Calling. Summons the 4 gates. And uses them and his opponent Zeus to make Goddess of the Closed World. Goddess will then swing over Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog will add a Swap Frog to hand after its destruction. Pass its turn. Breakthrough skill will activate in the graveyard, banishing itself. Let me double check that. Banishes from graveyard, target one face up effect unless your opponent controls. So Goddess's effect is negated for the turn. Player then summons Swap Frog. Ronin Totem in the grave will banish a Dupe Frog. Goddess will attempt to negate the effect of Ronin Totem. Her effect is negated this turn. Ronin Totem is summoned. Burn it and swap will then link to make IP Masquerena. Ronin in the Grave will banish another Dupe Frog, summon itself. Ronin and IP are going to link again, this time making a Nightmare Unicorn. Unicorn will spin away the Numeron network. Ronin Totem summons itself back, and along with Unicorn, will link once again. This time making Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker will gain 3,000 attack points. It will banish IP to destroy Goddess of Closed World. Swing direct for 5,300. Player sets one more back row, passes turn. Duelist A draws Terraforming, activates it, gets a Numeron Network to hand. Attempts to activate Numeron Network. Player chains a Paleozoic Leoncolia, which will return Breakthrough skill from the Banish Zone to the graveyard. Player summons the 4 Numeron Gates, and then is going to link them all to make Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. Go into battle and swing into his opponent's Access Code Talker, losing the game. Victory goes to the Frogs. That was certainly a lively match to open with. Let's see if we can't keep this momentum going. Alright, we have a Sword Soul Tenyi player. Disgusting. Activate the effective Ashuna to summon itself, because they control no effect monsters, and they will then link that off into Monk of the Tenyi. Tenyi Spirit Vashuda will summon itself, and the Ashuna in the graveyard will banish itself to summon an Adhara from the deck. Both monsters will then Synchro Summon to make Sword Soul Grandmaster Chishao. Chishao will add Sword Soul Blackout to hand. Adhara will banish itself from the graveyard to return the Ashuna to the hand. Strategist Longwan will pitch the Ashuna to summon itself and a token. The two will then synchro into Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying. Longwan will deal 1,200 from the graveyard. Player sets the Blackout and passes turn. They have Ash Blossom and Nibiru in hand as well. Opponent activates Infinite Impermanence, targeting the Supreme. Sets one back row, then activates the Fire Formation Tenki. Blackout will be used, getting rid of their own Monk of the Tenyi and the opponent's 2 cards. Player then summons Zodiac Thoroughblade. Is going to link it off into Tiger Mortar. Tiger Mortar will then go into Borbo. At respawn, Chishao will then attempt to negate the effect of Borbo, which will succeed. Borbo will then go into Dryden. He was baited out and fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Dryden will then destroy the Supreme using its own effect, and player attempts to use Fusion Destiny. Fusion Destiny will be negated by the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Player moves into battle phase, passes turn. Zodiac was unable to go into Zeus. Sword Soul player activates Pot of Desires, banishing 10, adding 2 to hand, attempts to swing over Dryden with Chishao. Chishao will negate Dryden's effect. Dryden's stats do go to 0 because of this, and they will take full damage, 2,800. After battle, Sword Soul player passes turn. Zodiac player's turn. They summon a Whiptail, and an opponent uses a Max C. Max C will resolve. Whiptail turns into Borbo. Chishao will once again negate Borbo's effect. Player passes turn afterwards. Sword Soul player draws an effect Veiler for turn. Chishao swings over Borbo. Borbo uses its effect to banish the Chishao. Main phase 2, the Tenyi Spirit Vashuda will summon itself, and player will normal summon an effect Veiler, which will be enough for another synchro of a level 8 Sword Soul Grandmaster Chishao. Chishao will add a Sword Soul of Taya to hand, set Infinite Impermanence, and pass turn. Sword Soul is firmly in the driver's seat. Zodiac player summons Harass, who will attempt to use its effect to link summon. Chishao will negate this. Player then activates Shared Ride. Hang on a second. That might be the card I remembered. Sorry, I just had a flashback. Sword Soul player summons Sword Soul of Taya, banishes the Sword Soul Blacket from the graveyard to get a token. Sword Soul Blacket, for being banished, will summon another token. Taya and token will then sync to make Baxia, Brightness of the Yangzing, which will return Karas to the deck. Baxia and Chishao will swing direct for game. Sword Soul wins out over Zodiac. Guess they didn't go into Baron. I'm actually playing Sword Soul cards. Both matches we've already seen today have gone more than 2 turns, which is exciting. Let's see what happens in match number 3. Ooh, we got Predaplant. They set 1 back row, activate Practice, which summons the Predaplant. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to say this whole name, aren't I? Predaplant Chlamydo Sundew. Nailed it. Chlamydo Sundew's effect. The stuff searched up. Are you talking about the Dark Humor versus Dark Humor respawn boy? No, I did not. I'm actively looking at it in my YouTube search, though. So it is right there. Seeing that 30-minute video, so I can get that done after I complete today's Watch and Learn. Practice summons the Chlamydo Sundew and adds a... oh god. Helium for Heinicus. Helium for Heinicus to hand, which is then revealed, and the effect of Sundew will then activate. I'm going to say the last... I'm going to say the suffix of these names just to save my life. Sundew and Sekivus will make Greedy Venom Fusion Draken. These names are going to ruin me. They set a Cordyceps and pass turn. Opponent activates Fusion Destiny, sending away Dasher and Celestial while they still can to make DPE. Yeah, I'm the sort of guy that will be like, all right, I'm going to watch this video, and I'll like just have it sitting in a tab open on YouTube for a couple days until I get around to it. But I swear I will watch it. This is a promise from this streamer to you. Player is actually going to pass turn. Let me double check. Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. Target one face monster on field. Change that target's attack to 0. Its effect is negated. If this card stores and set to the graveyard, store as many monsters on the field as possible. Then banish one level 8 or higher dark monster from your graveyard and special summon this card from the graveyard. I don't know why they didn't immediately use DPE to get rid of Greedy. Player draws Prime Fusion. Summons Flytrap, which targets DPE. DPE will now destroy itself in Greedy Venom. DPE and Greedy will use their effects. Greedy blows up the board, summons itself back. DPE and Greedy are now back on board. DPE player does nothing. Cordyceps will banish itself from the graveyard, target Flytrap and Sundew, summon them both back to the field. Sundew will send itself and Greedy Venom away to make Protoplant Stepelia. Flytrap will put a counter on DPE and attempt to swing into it. Dragostilapia will activate its effect in response to DPE's effect activation, targeting DPE, which puts another counter on it and negates its effect. Flytrap will then destroy DPE by its own effect and become level 10. Stapelia will swing direct. Player then activates Protoprime Fusion, a quick place card, to make another Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. Greedy Venom swings direct for 33 and game. I'm actually thoroughly enjoying watching these matches so far. And yes, you are right, Respawn Boy. DPE is used as a crutch more than to be DPE, which is why the only true place it belongs is in hero decks. We have another Numeron player opening with 2 walls, a Psyframe Driver, Ghost Ogre, and Terraforming. Their opponent completely passes their turn and is playing an above average sized deck. They attempt to activate Terraforming. Their opponent will activate Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Opponent activates Numeron Wall. Player activates Lancia in response to Numeron Wall. Wall will set Network. Network will send away Calling and summon the 4 gates. Gate 1 swings, along with Gate 2, 3, and 4. None of their effects activated to increase attack. Then all 4 gates are then going to link off to make Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. And they pass turn. Player summons Jit Synchron, links it off to make Linkuriboh. Synchron effectively activate in the graveyard. They'll pitch O-Lion, summon itself back. O-Lion will summon a token. O-Lion and Synchron will then sync off to make Herald of the Arclight. Then Arch Nemesis Protoss will summon itself by banishing cards and will declare Wind. Appaloosa will use her effect to negate this. Her attack is now lower than Protoss. The smart move to do would have been not to respond to Protoss. Because now Appaloosa is swung over by Protoss, takes 100. Linkuriboh swings direct for 300. Player draws Mahalma the Fairy Dragon. Uses Numeron Network again to summon the 4 gates. Moves into battle. Gate 1 crashes into Protoss. Herald of Arclight will then send itself to the graveyard in response to Gate 1's effect activation and negate it and destroy it. Gate 2 attempts to swing the Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh will make its attack 0. Gate 3 swings into Protoss. Gate 4 swings over Protoss. Main phase 2, the 3 remaining gates, 2 for 3, are going to link off to make Infinitrack Fortress Megaclops. Player activates Sword Soul Emergence, adds Sword Soul Taya to hand. Summon Taya, then banish the Emergence to get a token. However, Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit will respond to Taya. Taya is destroyed. They got a token, though. Start of turn, player uses Max C. Main phase 1, opponent summons their Max C, which swings over the Taya token, and then Megaclops swings direct. Victory goes to the Numeron player. We have the third Sword Soul player of the night. Opponent uses Fusion Destiny, immediately Ash Blossomed. Countered by a Called By. Fusion Destiny will resolve. the finger point of no. Fusion Destiny, fusing Dasher and Celestial to make DPE. Player sets 1 back row and passes. Sword Soul player draws Wandering Griffin. They will banish the Water Enchantress to add Rite of Aramasir to their hand. Tenny Spirit Ashuna will summon itself. Then they activate Rite of Aramasir to summon the Adventure token and activate Fateful Adventure from the deck. Wandering Griffin Rider will attempt to summon itself. DPE will activate its effect in response. It will destroy itself and the token. Griffin Rider is summoned. Fateful Adventure will then activate, and DPE's effect will chain to that. Fateful Adventure adds a Draco back, the Rideable Dragon to hand. Tenny Spirit Ashuna will then link off to make Monk of the Tenyi, which does qualify as a target for Draco back. Player summons Sword Soul Taya. Taya, Monk, and Griffin will all swing direct for 4,800. Fateful Adventure will then be used to add Water Enchantress of the Temple to hand, who will then be sent to the graveyard. DPE summons itself back to the field. Fateful Adventure attempts to activate its effect, and DPE will chain. Paleozoic Dinomischus will chain to DPE. Shaddoll Fusion chains to the Dinomischus. El Shaddoll Fusion, I should say, which will fuse Re-Shaddoll Windy and DPE to make El Shaddoll Winda. Dinomischus loses its target. DPE will destroy Fateful Adventure and El Shaddoll. Re-Shaddoll Windy will then set a Nail Shaddoll Aerial. Player moves to battle. Windy swings over Sword Soul of Taya. Oh. Ashuna will banish itself from the graveyard to summon Adhara. Enchantress of the Temple will banish herself, but she will be negated by an Ash Blossom. That was probably bait. Griffin goes to defense mode. Switches turn. The player uses Dasher's effect to summon the Nibiru they just drew. Main phase 1, Celestial will banish itself in Dasher to draw 2. They will summon the Shadow the Hedgehog. Nibiru swings over Griffin. Wenda swings over the Monk. Nail Shaddoll and Ariel. Sorry. Hedgehog goes over Adhara. Nail Shaddoll, Ariel goes direct. Player activates Rite of Aramasir, summons token, activates new Fateful Adventure. Player chains a Dogmatica Fleur de Lis to the activation of Fateful Adventure, because extra deck monster is on field. Fateful Adventure adds a Wandering Griffin Rider to hand. Adventure will also equip Draco back to the token and will bounce away the Windy. Griffin Rider will set itself in defense. Adhara banishes itself to return the Ashuna to the hand. Ashuna will banish itself to summon a Vishuda. Adventure token swings over Ariel. Passes turn. Player sets 1. Nibiru swings over Griffin. Fleur de Lis swings into Adventure token, gains attack points, and destroys. You are correct. Let's bring that back here. So, start of the turn, they draw, they activate Dasher's effect. That was used to summon Nibiru. And they flip summoned Nail Shaddoll. And then they normal summoned Shaddoll Hedgehog. So that was it. They used their special summon to summon Nibiru, and they normal summoned Shaddoll Hedgehog. Shaddoll window only locks down how many times they can special summon, which they used for the biggest one they could. Dracoback will bounce away Nibiru. Vishuda will go to attack mode. Adventure Token swings into Rishadal Windy, who will summon another Hedgehog. And Vishuda will swing into the face-up Hedgehog. That's his turn. Hedgehog, flipped face up. Adds Shaddoll Fusion to hand. Shaddoll Fusion activates, fusing the Hedgehog with the Nibiru. Make El Shaddoll Construct. Construct will attempt to use its effect. Fateful Adventure will chain. Starlit Papillon will add to hand. Construct sends away another Wendy, who will then set Shaddoll Beast. Player moves to battle. Construct swings into the Adventure Token and immediately destroys it. Fleur de Lis will swing into Vishuda and destroy that. Score is 22-24. Player draws Witch's Strike, sets it along with Twin Twister. Passes turn. Shaddoll player's turn. Move straight to battle. Swing direct with Fleur de Lis. Her attack goes up to 4,000, and that's the game. Alright, here we have a Toon player. Opponent uses a Water Enchantress because no fun allowed. You know what? I agree with the Respawn Boy. I'm not too big of a fan of Dogmatica myself. Yes, I was muted. I just realized that. To reiterate and sum it up, I agree with the Respawn. They were supposed to be counter extra deck, then became extra deck decks themselves. But at the same time, counter meta decks have never worked. The first one that I can think of being the not Mech Knights, the Mech Lords, who were supposed to be anti-synchro, and they were awful, and no one played them. And Galaxies was supposed to be anti-Xyz, and then it became an Xyz deck itself, and that still only made it okay. Monarch Eldritch? Gross. Player activates Ilbud, summons Ilbud, uses its effect. Sorry, Evil Thorn. I'm making up names. Ash Blossom will negate Evil Thorn. Passes turn. Player draws Scarlet Sandwood. Activates What on God's name? Pantheism of the Monarchs. Draws 2 for it. Activates Tenacity of the Monarchs. Reveals the Heavenly Monarch in hand. We get Domain of the True Monarch. Activates Domain. Sets 2 and passes. Opponent summons Traptrick Mantis. Scarlet Sanguine will activate in response, along with the Monarch's Storm Forth. Eldritch is summoned from the deck by Scarlet Sanguine. Mantis adds a Murmelio to hand. Mantis is then going to be linked off to make Sarah. Ether will activate her effect, tributing Eldritch and Sarah to summon herself. Hang on, a lot's happening right now. Ether's effect will send away Pantheism and Prime Monarch to summon Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. Ether will then return Erebus to the hand. Player draws Karaz. Using the effect of the Prime Monarch, they banish Domain of the True Monarchs to summon the Prime Monarch as a trap monster. Scarlet Sanguine will be banished to set Conquistador. Main phase 1, Domain of the True Monarchs. Reveals the Erebus in their hand. Pantheism in the graveyard is banished, revealing 3 Monarch cards. Opponent gives them 1, which is Tenacity. They activate Tenacity, revealing Erebus again, which adds Monarch Storm Forth to hand. Eldritch in the graveyard will send away Conquistador, add itself back to hand. Summon Eldritch with boosted stats. They tribute the Prime Monarch to summon Erebus, Underworld Monarch. His effect will activate, sending away a Pantheism and Tenacity of the Monarchs, and returning 1 card to the deck. Player then swings direct with all the Monarchs and Eldritch for game. Traptrick player really had no back row in their hand. That's embarrassing. And I am looking at an I don't know what right now. Player summons Gladiator Beast and all, passes turn. Opponent sets 2 back row, passes turn. Sorry, 1 back row, 1 monster. Player summons Sapphire, swings with Andal over the Assault Wyvern. Swings with Sapphire for no reason, passes turn. Player activates Foolish Burial, sending away White Stone of Legend. Activates Monster Reborn to bring back the Assault Wyvern. Assault Wyvern swings over Sapphire. Wyvern will attribute itself to summon a Crystal Dragon. Is this guy playing, like, the Dark Side of Dimensions pack deck? Activates Chaos Form, sending away a Dragon Spirit of White. Summon Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. The White Stone of Ancients that was sent to the graveyard will then summon a Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Player summons a Luster Dragon, which swings into Chaos Max. Passes turn. Player summons Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Banishes the White Stone of Ancients to add the Dragon Spirit of White back to their hand. Moves into battle. Chaos Max Dragon swings direct for 4,000. Endgame. Pretty sure if that one guy wasn't playing just normal monsters and nothing else, the Blue Eyes player would not have won. It is very weird that they gave a Blue Eyes Dragon a Snatched Waste. Is this an Exodia deck? Player activates Dark Magic Circle, adds Eternal Soul to hand, sets DD Dynamite, and passes turn. Opponent activates Feather Duster, wiping out the Magic Circle and the Dynamite. Sets a monster in face down defense, passes turn. Player draws Magician's Robe, sets it, sets Staunch Defender, and passes turn. Opponent uses a Kaiju to get rid of the opponent's Magician's Robe, summons a Battle Fader, and then set Necro Face to link off to make Baba Barber. What in God's name is happening right now? Player then activates Left Arm Offering, banishing their entire hand, adding Inferno Tempest to hand. Baba Barber swings into the Kaiju. They take 3,000, then activate Inferno Tempest, banishing a bunch of cards. 3 Necro Faces go off. Banishing more cards, banish more cards, and banish every card. Player passes turn. Duel's B has no cards left in their deck. They lose. Oh my god. The cards turn to dust. Alright, we have another Monarch player. Duelist A, Duelist B passes turn completely. Duelist A's turn. Activate the effect of Nashter, pitching away a Cyber Dragon. Hers adds a Cyber Dragon to hand. Activate Cyber Emergency. Add a Cyber Dragon Core to hand. Summon Core. Core will add a Cybernetic Overflow to hand. Player activates Power Bond, using Core and Nashter to make a Cyber Twin Dragon. 5,600 attack points, can attack twice, swing twice for game. Don't even want to really call that victory for the Cyber Dragon player if you want to think of that as a match. Alright, before I comment on the state of this game, I would like to point out what is going on with this person's field. They have Gear Town, they have the Marincess Graven Banish, they have the standard dual mate base, they have the car as their buddy, and they have green sleeves. There's too much. He looks like an RPG character who hasn't figured out how armor sets work yet. And his opponent's playing Fluffle. Wait, hang on. Let me check his extra deck. Not running VFD while he still can. Actually running Nightmare. Running 2 Sabertooth. I do have respect for this Fluffle player's extra deck. And they're running a normal 40 card deck. Let's see what they do. Activate Foolish Burial Goods, sending away a Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor effect will then add a Fluffle Dog to hand. They activate the effect of They activate the Toy Vendor in their hand already, pitching Fluffle Wings, which will get them Fret for Patchwork, which will be discarded because it's not the right card. They will summon Fluffle Dog, whose effect will be negated by Effect Veiler. They have to end their turn. No fusion cards, no edge imps. Fluffle is not off to a great start. Their opponent plays Unknown Synchron, sends it away to summon Stardust Synchron, who adds Arrival in Light. Coolbolt Hedgehog will then be summoned. They activate Arrival in Light, revealing Converging Wills Dragon. Stardust Charge Warrior is made using Stardust Synchron and Coolbolt Hedgehog. Arrival in Light and Charge Warrior's effects will activate. Charge Warrior will let him draw a card. Arrival in Light will let him draw a card. Charge Warrior swings over Dog. Passes turn to the Fluffle player to draw a new dog. They'll banish the Fluffle Wings in their graveyard and Fluffle Dog to draw a card, and send away the Toy Vendor to draw another card, which will be Fluffle Penguin and Fluffle Owl and Fluffle Penguin. They summon Penguin, who uses its effect to summon Fluffle Dog. which will get Edge Jump Saber to hand. Penguin and Dog will then overlay to make number 70, Malevolent Sin. Malevolent Sin will move into battle phase, swing Overcharge Warrior. Sin then gains 300 attack points and 3 rank. Passes turn. Opponent activates Raigeki. Bye, Spider. Summons Junk Synchron, which will target Cool Bolt Hedgehog, summoning it back to the field. He'll then sync off to make Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder goes to the extra monster zone. Arrival and Lights effect will activate, as will Junk Speeder. Junk Speeder will summon Cyber Synchron, Satellite Synchron, Junk Synchron, and Stardust Synchron. Arrival and Light will allow the player to draw 1 card, which will add 1 card. Stardust, draw 1 for Arrival and Light. Stardust Synchron adds 1, which is Majestic Image. Cool Bolt Hedgehog and Junk Synchron will make a TG Hyper Librarian. Player makes Red Supernova Dragon, which has 7,500 attack points. Supernova swings for 75 and Hyper Librarian for 24. You say cringe Supernova. I respect that guy's synchro deck more than any Sword Soul player. Oh, hey, look, Fateful Adventure Tri Brigade. Activate Adventure. Add Water Enchantress. Pitch Water Enchantress. Banish Water Enchantress for Red Rare Messir. Activate Red Rare Messir. Get token. Fateful Adventure activate. Add Draco back. Set Forbidden Droplet. Pass turn. Opponent activates 1 for 1. Sending away Red Eye's Black Flare Dragon. 1 for 1 will be negated by Ash Blossom. Player summons Rocket Synchron, which targets the Flare Dragon. Forbidden Droplet will be activated, pitching Draco back, targeting the Rocket Synchron. Draco back, for being discarded, will attach itself to the Adventure token. Rocket Synchron is then linked off to make Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon will add a Boot Sector launch to hand. Activate Boot Sector. Use Boot Sector. Summon a Silver Rocket. Silver Rocket and Striker are going to link to make Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. And pass turn. Player draws their second Tri Brigade Revolt. Draco back will attempt to bounce Heretic Sphere. Heretic Sphere will activate its effect, sending itself to the graveyard, but will be stopped by a Called by the Grave. Called by will banish the seal and negate its effect. Draco back, I guess, fizzles. Fateful Adventure adds 1 in Griffin to hand, pitches Tri Brigade Revolt in exchange. Griffin summons itself, token goes to attack. Both swing for 4,000 each. Sorry, 4,000 total, not each. That'd be too much. Boot Sector launch attempts to use its effect. Griffin Rider will chain to negate. Griffin Rider goes back to the deck. Boot Sector launch is destroyed. Player summons Rocket Synchron. Is now able to bring back the Flare Dragon. Sinks them both off to make Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Hot Red Dragon's effect will activate, destroying the Adventure token. Player sets 1 back row, swings direct for 3,000, passes. Player draws Fire Formation Tenki. Activates. Add Fractale to hand. Use Fractale effect, pitching itself. Sending away Kit. Kit's effect activate. Send away Nerval. Nerval's effect. Add Kit to hand. Summon Kit. Use Kit's effect. Banish Kit and Nerval. Summon Ancient Warriors. And send away the dragon back to the extra deck. Ancient Warriors and Kit make Verte. Verte, send away Fusion Destiny. Make DPE. Set 1 back row. Verte attempts to swing direct. Player uses Super Polymerization, fusing Verte and DPE. Makes Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Tri-Brigade player passes turn. Blackstone of Legend effect activates in graveyard. Opponent chains Revolt to it. Summons Kit, Fractale, Kit, and Nerval. I think we need to... Alright, hang on, just a tick. I need to complain about something. Tri-Brigade Revolt special summons any number of Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters that are banished or in your graveyard, then immediately use them to make a Link summon. This sucks. By this sucks, I mean this is too good. If it was just graveyard or just banished, it'd be fine. But if it's both, like these cards are now put back into the graveyard to be used by all your other Tri-Brigades. Revolt is a normal rarity card. Who approves this? Blackstone of Legend sends back a Flare Dragon, adds itself back to hand. Shirag was summoned by Revolt. Its effect will attempt to activate. Chain to Nerval. Nerval will add Kit to hand. Shirag will banish the Starving Venom. Dragon player passes turn. Player summons Kit. Kit banishes 3 to summon Silver Sheller. Shirag, Kit, and Silver Sheller all swing for game. Disgusting. Alright, we have a Dark Magician player of some sort. They set Trap Hole of Spikes. Pass turn. Opponent sets 1 and passes. Player draws Blue Dragon Summoner. Summons it. Swings for 15. Passes. Duelist B's turn. Duelist B sets 1 more back row. Summons Sandion, the Time Lord. Nebula Dragon will summon itself and a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Sandion attempts to swing. Player uses Trap Head of Spikes. No effect on Sandion. Blue Dragon Summoner will add Dark Magician to hand. Sandion will deal 2,000 by its own effect. Galaxy and Nebula will then overlay to make number 62. Which will then be equipped with Dragon Shield. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Hang on a second. Now the player takes battle damage from attacks involving it on number 62, who's supposed to be a 1-turn, deal 10,000 damage plus card. Sucks. Raigeki fails to destroy Sandion or number 62. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players cannot read. Sandion sends itself away. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players cannot read. He swings with number 62, uses its effect attaching a unit to double its attack points, but they can't deal battle damage. Player then uses Called By to summon Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, who will swing for 3,000 damage. What a train wreck this is. Dark Magician player, Bricks. Hard. Battle phase, Galaxy Eyes swings for game. Oh boy. We have an Endymion deck. This will be fun. Player sets Mythical Beast Cerberus in the Pendulum Zone. Opponent activates Maxi. Maxi will resolve. Cerberus will destroy itself to add a Mythical Beast Cerberus and Jackal King to hand. Sorry, adds Jackal King to hand. Jackal King is revealed. Activates, sets itself, destroys. Player sets Servant of Endymion and Mythical Beast Master Cerberus goes to the extra deck zone. Player activates Spell Power Mastery. Ash Blossom to a Spring will activate in response to negate. They will not take the Maxi challenge. Mythical Beast Master Cerberus has 4 spell counters. Servant of Endymion has 1. Player activates Mind Control, taking control of Mythical Beast Master Cerberus. Then summons Strike-Breaker Ace Ray, links them both off to make Ace Zeke. Opponent activated Maxi, Maxi resolve, they draw 1. Set 1 back row, Zeke swings direct, go to end phase, pass turn. Player draws Allure of Darkness, activates. Opponent will Ash Blossom that. Servant of Endymion gets another counter, goes up to 3, drops down to 0 to summon Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic, and itself. Opponent activates Widow Anchor, targeting Servant of Endymion. Endymion itself will activate in response, sending in Servant back to hand. Setting Servant in the Pendulum Zone again. Endymion Master swings over Zeke. Ray will summon herself to the field. Passes turn. During the end phase, Ray will tribute herself to summon Shizuku. Shizuku will add a Skystriker Mobilize Engage to hand. Yeah, Skystriker's not fun. And Kaiser Coliseum comes out. They activate the Mobilize Engage. Endymion will use its effect. Bounces Servant to negate the engage. Shizuku will turn into Hayate. Hayate swings direct. Hayate will then turn to Kagari. Skystriker's win condition is they have better resources than you. Kagari adds back Engage. Reactivates Engage, which gets Afterburners to hand, and they draw 1. Activate Afterburners, destroying Kagari. Summon Ray. Send away Ray to make Kaina. Skystriker Ace Kaina goes into Shizuku. Shizuku will add an Airspace Aereo 0. I'm going to check something. Yep. While Endymion has spell counters, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Skystriker players didn't read that. Mythical Beast Master Cerberus sets in the Pendulum Zone. Its effect destroys itself, adds Jackal King. Set Jackal King. Jackal King destroys itself. Summons Master Cerberus. Set Servant of Endymion. And Endymion Master in Pendulum Zones. Master Cerberus will remove 3 counters. To banish Shizuku, Ray summons herself. Endymion player will then Pendulum Summon a Jackal King. Ray will tribute herself in response. Jackal King will use its effect in response, removing counters to negate Ray's effect. Effect Veiler will then go off, reducing the stats of Master Cerberus. Master Cerberus, Jackal King, and Endymion will all swing for game. The Endymion and Master Cerberus and Jackal King cards are why I started doing this series, because trying to keep up with one of those players in one of my games proved impossible. And you have them to thank for why I make this series. Let's go next. Hang on one hell of a minute. Batlin Boxers and Yosenjus? Sure. Opponent summons Unizombie, sends away Vampire Familiar. Vampire Familiar sends away Retainer to summon itself. Take 500. Add Shadow Vampire to hand. Vampire Retainer will pitch a Vampire Retainer to summon itself. Deal 500 to self. Add Vampire's Domain to hand. Activate Domain. Domain pays 500. Banishes Retainer. Summons the Shadow Vampire. Vampire Voivode will special summon itself by Shadow Vampire's effect. Then Familiar, Unizombie, and Shadow Vampire are all going to sync off to make Baron de Fleur. Vampire Synchro? Vampire player sets 1 and passes. Player sets Majo Senju and destroys itself with Storm and the opponent's back row Forbidden Droplet. Sets Yosenju's secret move and passes. Baron de Fleur will destroy the Yosenju's secret move. Summon a Unizombie, which will send away a Necro World Banshee. Banshee will banish herself to set Zombie World. Retainer will send away Vampire's Domain to summon itself to the field. Pay 500. Add Vampire Domination to hand. Retainer and Unizombie will make Crystra and Halki Fibrex. This is about to get gross. Halki Fibrex will summon Glow Up Bloom, which will then be linked off to make Link Haribo. Glow Up Bloom banishes itself from the graveyard. Summons Doom King Baldarok. Link Haribo swings for 300. Halki Fibrex 15. Voivode 28. Battling Boxer Veil will summon itself to heal the 20 it just took. Baldarok swings over that. Player attempts to use Yosenju Oyam. Baron de Fleur will activate to negate, and Doom King Baldarok will activate in response, banishing Yosenju Kama. Baron swings direct for 3,000. Doom King Baldarok and Link Haribo will link off to make Vampire Sucker. Vampire player sets 1 more back row and passes. Duelist A draws Battling Boxer Veil. Baldarok summons itself back. Vampire Sucker allows player to draw a card. Baron de Fleur sends itself away, summon back the Unizombie. Halki Fibrex will use its effect to make Formula Synchron. Formula Synchron allows player to draw a card, and is also going to activate its effect to start a new Synchro Summon, which is going to use itself and Doom King Baldarok to remake Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur has its negate back. And player drew like 3 cards that turn. Baldarok summons itself back. Vampire Sucker allows player to draw a card. Sucker swings direct for 16. Voivode swings direct for 28. Vampires and Baron went out over Yosenju. That was certainly something to behold. But you know what? I think I've seen enough forever. And because I still don't know if my last uploads have finished processing HD versions, I'm going to cut this video off at under an hour. Take it easy, Respawn. And to continue the outro, that's going to be the end of this video. If you caught the stream, thanks for watching. Catching the replay, thanks for that too. Goodbye.